that it would die, and now it's gone. And we are broadcasting live and in person.
He did. Multiple times on this nice.
Without, let me tell you something, without you in those things, and I know everybody can hear me now. Without you in those groups, they die. They die.
Huh?
Bob would have said the same thing.
Bob would have said the same thing.
Bob did say the same thing.
Oh, yeah, he did say the same thing multiple times. Yep. Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, Mara said happy. Man, look at my beard, Frank. It's like so big. It's crazy.
You ought to see my ass.
I don't want to see your ass.
I got to get out of this office, man. It's killing me.
I feel the same thing. Look at that.
I told Jane earlier, I said, I'm too fat. She said, eat less, move more. Right.
That's what Melissa just shook over there. She said the same thing. Eat less, move more.
Yeah.
Melissa agrees. So
Yeah,
what's
we're getting-
going on? We got everybody's popping in. I don't even see what's going on. Hi, y'all. We got Facebook. Michelle's in the house. Mike, is that Michelle? Michelle is in the house. Mara says hi. You see
Michelle
that?
says, I hear you.
You see that?
What? Let's see what they're talking about over here. Mike Forney's in there. Tricia.
Mike Forney's got a killer fireplace going on. I was kind of jealous. He's out there cooking freaking Arizona, heating outside.
There's
What's
Elizabeth Dion. Good evening, Mr. Frank and Mr. Shaggy.
What's up, Elizabeth?
What's up, E? E tells me to have a nice night and sleep well every night. She tells me every night.
It's awesome.
I know, it's cool.
Miss MKA Transportation's in the house. We're going live everywhere.
Man, we're banging it.
While you get live, I'll help you bang a little more.
MKA, what up?
Give me a second here and I'll go help us bang a little more. I have a magic trick. Let everybody pour in, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Share this page over to the page. Boing. Let everybody pour in, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Share this page over to the page. Boing. Let everybody pour in, right? Oh yeah.
I need to get with you about building a truck, sir. Well, when do you want to do that? Call me tomorrow. I need to get with you about building a truck, sir. Well, when...
Going live everywhere. They're pouring in. What's up? Hey guys. It's hard to see on my laptop. I can't tell where the hell they're coming from. I just know I shared it a couple of times or ripped it. I gotta be careful with that sharing stuff because the new Facebook.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
You're a bad guy if you share it too much. You know, what is the topic tonight besides everybody should take a minute to know? Do you ever know, like, man, I'm like so tore up this week. I don't know if I'll ever see straight again, man. Like, how do you go through life without Bob Best? Like, literally. Like,
I
how
don't
do you
think
do it?
people. There's Dan Brandt. What's up, Dan?
Woo, I'm
Looking
going to
for a
my
good time,
20s.
good fire and a beer. All right.
Ah. What up, fellas? Ironic how both of you are wondering about how your friend Bob was doing just last Tuesday. We were. You know what's crazy? Man, that guy called me on November 1st, and I told Frank, I was like, dude, he called me from the hospital, or he got out of the hospital. He was at home. He told me they got COVID. They just got out. And it was weird because he called me, checked in, told me that I was awesome and all kinds of stuff. And the next thing you know, he disappeared again. And it's like you get so caught up sometime in time, you forget about what's important. You know what?
Yeah, and one of the things, I talked to his wife for a long, long time last night. And one of the things that she brought up, which made me feel
Even worse.
kind of mixed emotions. I mean, I felt good about it and I felt kind of sad. She said that one of the things he really enjoyed was when you and I got on here together and we were cutting up and talking about the business and, giving people shit and just having fun and doing. She said he would come home and sit and watch us and just laugh and laugh. And, I begged Bob, I begged him, God, I don't know, 20 times to come on with us.
Yeah, he never would.
And he said, no, 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 no.
No, just watch.
He said, that's not my thing. He said, I'll just watch. And then we come to find out that he was helping so many people behind the scenes that like you were talking about that today, that we didn't even know about. We
I
didn't
never even knew it all. Like, I knew he had a lot on Instagram, but holy cow, Frank.
Here's the thing about Bob and his wife, talking to his wife, I'll probably bring that up about 300 times, but talking to his wife last night, he genuinely liked helping people. He really did. I mean, if you were a serious person and you needed help, he'd drop whatever he was doing and help you. And she said, well, that's just part of him. He's just an old school guy. That's what you guys do. That's the way he did. And she was telling me about all the hundreds of trips back in the day he made from the valley down in Texas to Hunts Point Market. She said, we used to run that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth during produce season. And she said he would always stop and help somebody that needed help. And that's how he was. He was my biggest cheerleader. He was your biggest cheerleader. I mean, he was just a good guy.
Dude, he was always there. Like, he knew when to call.
Man, and these days, you hear everybody talk about the good old days and old school truck drivers and stuff. I mean, if you look up old school truck driver in the good old days, there's a picture of Bob there.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
he is right up until the last minute. He was that way. He would stop and talk to anybody and try to help them. Now, if you were messing with him, or if he got the idea you were playing games, goodbye.
Mean motherfucker.
Goodbye, motherfucker. See you. So, I think a lot of people, Michelle Brandon, what's up? What's up, Michelle? Kyle Williams.
Solomon says he really needs help.
I really need help. I'll call you tomorrow. Okay. Shaggy, you didn't put your number up there, did you?
Nope, I can.
Well, that's what we want to. Somebody said it's good that you guys can get on here and talk about your buddy. I'm sure he would love it. He was always watching and interacting with you guys' shows. That's what we set out to do. Bob Best,
Dude, he was everything.
Bob Best is going to be here for a long, long time. He helped us so much. Someone said he got your number. He helped everybody so much, especially us. Deb Dingo, what's up, Deb? Deb been out changing her tars today.
She's getting ready to pull some freight for us this week.
Cool.
On that dedicated stuff, because we follow what me and you preach, and we networked and found some dedicated contracts a month ahead of time.
There you go. There you go.
Hello, Frank and Shaggy. Oh, hello, Frank. Oh, sorry, Frank G. Trucks. There was no.
Oh,
Shaggy.
you can see some comments. That's wild.
Yeah, I clicked this little thing over here that says comments, and they're popping up. I can only see a few names though.
Yeah, it's weird like that. They're working
Hey
on
man,
it.
I tell you what, if I would have known though, I'd had so many cool stuff, man. I'd have sent that guy like an old semi truck from the day. Freaking everything in the world would have been at his thing, you know?
Somebody said, let's talk about unions. Tonight we're going to talk about Bob. I mean, if you want to talk about unions, I don't even know who that is. I can't see that page. Let me go get that page up. Hold on.
What about unions? What do we want to talk about unions? We're talking about Bob, man. We're talking about people that actually changed the industry. The guys that have been brokers and run terminals and old school trucking that never turned down, like memories of drivers who missed. And it goes back to, and if you want to talk about something going on Bob, talk about his wife, about how Bob worked so hard and she's still broker and freight, and how many of you people have a plan or your wives are being taken care of or have a system that you work side by side with to help them in case something happens like Bob. I mean, Bob was fine in a matter of days. You know what I mean? What are your priorities about? How are your family taken care of? Do you have a business plan for it?
You
Do
know,
you have
Bob,
money put away?
Bob and his wife adopted their granddaughter, and she came from a pretty bad, mess up environment, and she starts nursing school next week. That's amazing. I mean,
I
that's just
remember he just got excited because they just bought her a car right before that.
yeah,
Remember, he was so great. He's like, I got her a car. Remember that?
yeah.
Holy cow.
Somebody saying I don't know who Bob is.
Well, that
Bob
was your
Best.
loss. Because Bob was the man.
Mara says she's still waiting with the cows. Mara, I wonder where you were. I hadn't seen you posting much this week so far. Bob Best was one of our friends. He was a moderator in Shaggy's group. He was a moderator in our group. Bob was a broker. He had been for years and years and years and years. Truck driver. He and his wife ran team. They hauled produce. They ran. They did a lot of stuff. Say, here's the thing about Bob Best. Bob understood in this business, if you want to make it and you want to get somewhere, sometimes you have to do what other people won't do or can't do. And you have to be willing to do that. We're the little guys, people. We're not big mega carriers. We're not big mega brokers. We're the little guys. We make our living doing stuff they can't do and won't do. And Bob understood that.
I'm
And
gonna
he
have
did
to.
that.
I'm gonna have to say it. What's the saying? What's the saying?
Go ahead.
Pigs get slaughtered, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the guy we have. He says you could tell Bob was out for the carriers. He always got on here and told us his stories and how he wasn't taking cheap shit and doing that to his carriers. He didn't let his fucking customers do it ever, 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 ever,
Ever.
ever, ever.
Ever. And his wife is the same way. She's still doing it. I talked to her last night. She gets up every morning and goes to work, and she's still moving that freight. Her and Bob have been moving for years and years and years. And she's the same way. She's old school. She's, take care. She does what Shaggy and I do. If you take care of us, we'll take care of you. And I don't care if you're tall or short or black or white or green or yellow. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you do. If you're good to us, we will be good to you. And that's the way Bob was
You
all the time.
know, there's somebody on here that says, unfortunately, everybody's undercutting everyone. I guess that depends on what fucking world you live in. You know what I mean? Because we preach all the time about networking ahead, building relationships, finding people who aren't on load boards, having business plans. But then every day I talk to people that don't listen to people like Bob used to come on and preach, like me and Frank. And we tell you about building relationships, networking, and everybody's like, brokers don't want relationships. I don't know. I got a lady named Dawn Baker in there that's calling networking ahead, and she's got people giving relationships. Man, we got 15 loads a day that are only 330 miles, and they're paying $1,600. We got another 20 loads a day coming up this week, coming out of Wilmington, because we're networking ahead, because California's fucked themselves and all the ships are coming to the East Coast. But if you're so caught up on the load boards and worried about people undercutting everybody, you probably should change your business plan.
Deb says, I feel for his wife. I lost my husband last month. Fuck cancer.
You know,
Bob didn't have cancer, but
same
same
situation,
result.
same result. Yep.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah,
Well,
he
let's go along with that. Add on Bob. Bob's the topic of the night. But it's like that preacher, and I'm not getting religious, right? But he said, it's like the preacher made a story. He's working. He's 32 years old, 3 kids. He had a family, a wife, and all that stuff. And he got stomach pains 10 years ago. And we deal with this every day, right? We had that driver, Doug, that you know who he is, and I can't think of his last name right now, but he's a good friend of mine. And he sacrificed his life on the load, came home, was for his wife's birthday, and had blood coming out his thing. They said he has cancer, and he gave him 6 months. He lasted a month. And then Kim Vick, Doug Vick. Remember Doug Vick and Kim
Oh,
Vick?
yeah. Yeah.
Fucking the guy in North Carolina. How do you change that? What is your plan with your business today? That's kind of the topic. Bob's leading into the plan, money. What are you doing, right? Do you have your priorities straight?
I think Here's somebody, I'm going to get a Teamster job. It ain't worth being independent. Okay. I mean, I understand that. I get that. I've got a
Right.
friend I got a good friend that was going to buy a truck from me, and we were putting one together for him. Started working on it. He called, and we started working on it. And he called me back, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "I'm going to get a union job." I said, "Good for you. Go for it." What he found out when he went down there to get the union job was that they were having layoffs. They weren't hiring, so he didn't even stand a chance of even getting started with those
Bill
guys. So,
Moore.
yeah. Is it worth it if you work a plan and build relationships even during times like these that won't last forever? It is worth it. Yeah. You know, Shaggy and I've been talking about the same thing for 6 years. Building
Six.
relationships.
We went through this whole cycle before, didn't we?
Yeah. Building relationships, getting to know people. The people that are successful out there have relationships. Had Shane Ferris on the show last week. Shane's running 30 trucks, new trucks, new trailers. Shane buys new stuff, okay? He's running 30 trucks. And he said on the show, he hauls 90% broker freight. I said, how
And
do
he's
you
building
do
a
that?
shop.
Huh?
And he's building a really fucking big shop next to
Building a
him.
big ass shop. I said, how do you do that? He said, these are guys I've been dealing with for 10 years. He said, every morning they send my dispatchers their list of loads before they go on the broker boards. And we pick the ones they want, and the leftovers go on the broker boards.
Yeah, but Frank, we're only one truck. The guy that's talking, man. How do you build relationships when you're
The
only
same
one?
way.
You
The
know,
same
you
way.
only think, yeah.
What about our little buddy over there in Indiana? You know that he started calling you and calling you, and he was a farmer. He was farming, but the
Toledo,
co-op kept
Ohio.
trying. The co-op kept trying to get him to haul for them. He said, "I don't know if I can do that." And now he's got 5 trucks that haul for him. He doesn't want anymore. He doesn't
What
want
about this?
anymore.
We can talk about Sean out of Texas. I mean, we
Yeah,
can sit here and name people all day long. Then we can
all
name
night.
people all day long. And you're right. The one person said he's going to get a union job. I get it, man. If you guys are a one truck authority out there and you don't have time to build stuff, you're using a dispatching service to cover you. You don't want to be like Deb Dingle to go out and ask for customers when you need it and all that stuff. And you just want to whine about brokers and C.H. Robinson, TQL, L1, Suntech, Coyote, and all those other guys. And then when you get a broker, or you actually keep building it, do you keep networking ahead, or you take it while you got it? And you don't. I get it. I get it. You know, it takes you all day to talk to your wife and sit on your dash and text messages and play on the Facebook. I get it. Make your excuses. I understand if you only got one truck. Why'd you get an authority? This is a pisser for me, right? So this one pisses me off, right? So yeah, Frank says it all the time. Like almost all the time, Frank says, what is your plan if you get an authority? Because if you don't have a plan to something to do with your authority besides one truck, you should be a fucking owner operator, right?
Well,
At least you have resources and a team.
my biggest thing was I don't work well in a corporate environment. I don't play well with others, I guess you could say. And I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to do it myself. And I figured out early on that it's on me. It's on me. So last summer, I was fishing down in Florida with a friend of mine. And we've been friends since junior high school. Junior high. Right out of high school, he went to college. He got out of college. He went in the Army. He was an officer in the Army for 20 years. He retired. He when he retired, he got a job at the Pentagon, and he worked there for 20 years, and he retired. And while we were sitting there, he said, "I'm telling you all this because I've known you all my life." I said, "Where are you going with this?" He said, "I want to know how much money I got and how much money you got." I have more money. So, and I wear my hair like this if I feel like it. And most of the time I've got an ace in the hole. My son runs our company, but most of the time I do pretty much what I want to do. It's been a lot of work, but if I make it, I make it. It's not on anybody but me. And that's, Bob talked about that all day, every day. So I'm waiting to hear about a gig. Is it okay to bug people? Asking for a friend. You can bug people all you want. Heck yeah.
Bob used to talk about that, building relationships all the time and maintaining them. And he said the ones that don't maintain them were the ones that are going to get slaughtered, right?
That's right. That's right. It's all about relations. It's all about who you know. And another person, and I haven't seen him on the shows lately, but I spent some time. I got to spend some time with Jason Husky over at Team Husky this morning, and the people that when all this downturn started, kept trying to call them up and cut their rates and cut their rates and cut their rates. Now they're calling them back.
And it's happening a lot. We see
Oh
more and
yeah.
more, like on the email list and the networking brokers. You got two things happening. One, brokers aren't taking new people no more because of all this fraud and dispatching, because of the lawsuits that happen with the big guys. Everybody's freaking out because they don't want to play with the volume of dispatching services, is what a couple of the mega brokers told us. So they're backing the 30-day authority. Some of them are going to 6 months and a year, and everybody's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, we let the market get destroyed by third-party people playing games so you get what you want. But it's everything's changing.
Everything's changing, and it goes in cycles. It always has. But there's never been a time.
But why
Okay.
are all the big brokers laying off?
Because there's never been a time when the big brokers weren't trying to push down the carrier rates. That's what they do. That's their job. If
But the
if they can
carriers
make
pull the freight,
if
though.
if they can make 50 or 70%, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. They just put it on the load board and feed it to the cheapest guy. They don't
But
care.
but I don't understand, because we don't have to take it as a carrier, and they
No,
have to have carriers to pull it. It's really
no.
weird because, like, you think about it, brokers can't do nothing with trucks, so the mega trucking companies have the freight first, and then what they can't do, they either broker it, or then it goes out to the big brokers, and they either got to have carriers help them, or they go put it on the load boards.
Well, that's what they do.
But they
That's their
still
job.
don't have trucks.
They're going toward AI. Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
That's just another relationship killer. I mean, you look at guys like we know. You look at Jess Graham. I've seen Jess's paperwork. She just last time she was at the shop, she just went in the truck, got it out, and handed it to me. She said, "Here, this is what I'm doing." She's still making between $8,000 and $9,000 a week. She always has. She's been doing that since I met her. I mean, and she's still doing the same thing. And she works with the exact same two people all the time, all the time. Yeah, I
Well,
mean, God,
we just found 4 gig. What is that? Let me get my calculator out. What is 1690 times 5? Yeah, 1690 times 5, doing 330 miles, and there's like 4 of these gigs in a row, and they're pouring in on the East Coast like crazy. That's 8,400. And if you live in North Carolina where you grew up, that's home on weekends, right?
yeah. Dan Brent said, I remember Frank mentioned this cycle a bit ago as a big old sheepdog shaking off the excess within the industry. It happens every couple of years. And for the last couple of years before this downturn, when everything was jamming, and all you saw on social media was, I won't even start my truck for less than $5. Those guys are gone.
Yeah, they're retired.
They're gone. I bought their truck and sold it to somebody that had some brains.
It's the truth.
They're gone.
When I was doing the free shows, the free trading in Brazil, when we started these things together,
Oh,
we were
yeah.
in the same fucking era, man. I was sitting in an office, the low boards went dead, clock filters sitting across, the dispatching service is nuts, the counts went, the rates dropped, the brokers played their games, and then immediately, while we were doing the Wednesday night show, every fucking Wednesday night, having all those guests come on and all the students, it turned right in front of our eyes for almost 2 years, and then it dropped out again, and then E-Logs came in. Well, that was right after E-Logs, yeah. You know what I mean? E-Logs had just came in, remember?
Yeah, there's Tony Gunther, my mate. Charity says Shaggy had an excellent port lane posted.
We were just talking about it. We just got 2 more. We're getting ready to post it. We need 20 more trucks on top of the 15 trucks. We'll have it
20 more
posted up
trucks.
here tomorrow night. All in North Carolina area, South Carolina. I'm telling you, all those ships are coming around because California fucked themselves, right? So they're all coming back in because it always happens. Frank was just telling you the other day. It goes through a cycle where you have a purge, like Shane said, And then the brokers get to play their games because everybody's out there chasing a loss because they didn't build the relationships they had. Trucks left, they came, they went, brokers kept the guys, and now the fucking brokers are having their free for all. But how long do you think that's going to happen?
As long as you let it. As long as you let it. Everybody's got something to complain about. Here's my other thing. This is Bob hated this shit. Bob hate. You want to get Bob mad?
Oh my God!
If
I
one
already
of
know.
us said, if one of us said, even one time, if one of us said, you want to be successful, stop blaming everyone else. Bob would go
Oh
crazy.
my God! He used to yell at me.
Stop blaming everybody else. Bob would be like, you better look in the mirror, bitch.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Stop blaming everybody else. That's not the way it works.
The
That's not the
weekend.
way it works.
The weekend says he remembers those days. Must have been when we were doing all those shows every Wednesday night in the schools.
Yeah, yeah. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and we made a lot of really good friends. And the people that didn't want to hear it, or didn't want to participate, or didn't want, they go away real fast. They come and they go. Shaggy and I, for a while there, for about a year, I called him one night and I said, we're talking to whole different people than we were talking to, you know, 2 months ago. And he said, yeah, except for about 20 or 30, it's all different people. And they go in this cycle. They go in this cycle, and my group's got a couple thousand people in it. Shaggy's got 7,000 people, and most of them aren't active. A lot of people want to get rich quick. This ain't the right business.
Yes, I know who the weekend is.
Yeah.
I just can't really read the stuff on here because even much is kind of weird. I'm trying to pull it all in from 15 different places.
Yeah. And Richie, talking about going to work for a union, what I would be concerned about is, I mean, are they going to respect redfish season? Because I got to go to Florida for 3 weeks during redfish season, and freight be damned. They
I
don't
was in the
respect that.
bloodbath of 2018. Yeah, it was a bloodbath. But what? But every right before 2018, everybody was talking like they were just like last couple of years. Not as big because it wasn't as long. It was only like a year break. Because like December, I don't remember what it was. Was it November? Right before December when it was
Yeah.
November when the e-logs came in 2017. Fuck, everything went through the roof because everybody was out there going, "I won't put an e-log in my truck," and the rest of the people are making money like
Here's
a motherfucker.
but here's what we're doing, and now we're doing this because Shaggy and I get in this trap just like everybody else. We've been sitting here for 20 minutes talking about freight chasers, broker boards. We're not talking about building relationships. We're not talking about going out and get your own business. Deb Dingo will get out of her truck and walk in your office and walk out with the business. Been there, done that.
But how many people make the second call?
Second call. You never get freight on the first call. Never happens.
How many people are out there and they have a guy on the phone and are at their place when the guy offers the freight to them and they even know what to do with it if you got it?
Charity says, I was in the 2018 bloodbath. Should have been around in 2006, hon. That was like getting dragged across concrete there for about a year.
Oh man, it was so bad. Like I see
Oh,
rates now then. You know what I mean? Like holy
yeah.
fudge. And that was actually punishing because the housing market crashed on top of everything else. I mean, you could blame it on you could say we had a COVID back then. It was no better.
Yeah. Deb says 2018 was my most profitable year, several months on FEMA.
She
FEMA's good.
says, shit, how many make the first call? Yeah, not very many nowadays. They let everybody else do it for them, and they drive their truck because they didn't have a plan before they started in the fucking first place because they follow everybody on YouTube and everyone else instead of me and Frank. And that's crazy too because while we're at it, like Bob used to always tell me to stop training all those people because he said that most of them don't, they have those kind of ears that don't want to listen. And I never listened to them all the time or you. And now it's back to where all I'm doing is one-on-ones and helping people along the way because no one can get there as fast as what you teach them in 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You can't get it fast enough. Everybody wants to get rich, get rich, get rich, get rich. And the people that call Shaggy, when Shaggy was doing those classes, those webinars every night, every night.
Right.
And people would get on there and they'd pay him money They pay Shaggy money and turn off their camera and turn off their microphone. You didn't even know if they were there.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. Or they're laying in their bed and Frank's trying to teach them about government or whatever. The guys are in there teaching.
I'm a little different than Shaggy. I'll tell them to fuck off pretty quick. You know, that's why I can't do what Shaggy does. I can't do that because I just I don't have the patience for people like that. You know, and then one woman told Shaggy one night that she was in his class and wanted to learn how to be a broker because she wanted that to be her side gig. Remember that?
Yeah, I
She had
remember
a
that.
hair salon or something, but she wanted to broker freight as a side gig. Are you fucking
Something.
kidding me?
I had a guy the other day that's got a truck in authority, and he said he'd been driving forever. Paid that guy in California $4,000 for 3 days worth of training, and his truck's sitting in Georgia. Didn't even do nothing with his authority, and now he's out there. And I couldn't. I was, and the guy was great, but I mean, it was so slow. I was falling asleep when I'm talking to him, and he's like, "How do I sell freight?" And I'm like, "But you just said you know everything. Like, if you got your trucking company and you're doing it right, then you should have customers with your trucking company."
Yeah, yeah, you'd think.
Why would you go get a broker first? What is a broker gonna do if you ain't got no fucking trucks?
Sometimes, you know, and these people, yeah, brokers suck. And they've never done anything but get up in the morning and go get something to eat and use the restroom and come in here and turn on that. They think that's the business they're in. Yeah, these brokers suck. Well, stop using them, bitch. Don't call them. Don't call them. Leave them alone. Don't
Yeah,
bother them. And I
drive your
promise
truck
you,
without them.
I promise you, they won't call you.
They
It's
don't call.
easy. It's really, really, really easy. Really easy. And this is what my son is good at. You know, when we started, we had 13 carriers doing our dedicated stuff out west. We have one guy leave when freight weights went way up. One guy left. He had 4 trucks. Frank replaced him the same day. And all he did was call a couple of his carriers and say, okay, dudes, we had a couple guys leave. Go ahead and put on another truck. He had them replaced in 2 hours. Well, when freight rates started going back down, he calls up, hey man, I'd really like to come back. You know, we really had a good relationship. I said, call Frank. I said, but I don't think he's got anywhere to put you.
And what exactly is when somebody says relationship? Are they talking about TQL, Coyote, Suntech, Allen Lund, Lipsy,
Somebody,
Fitzmarks? Those
somebody will
guys.
get
When
on
you talk
Facebook
about
and,
somebody like Frank, what are they talking about? Like, there's a huge difference in brokers. I'm just telling you.
well, somebody, if you get on social media and you say, you know, don't depend on those guys and don't use the big box brokers. They're out to get you. That's their job. Somebody inevitably will say, I don't know. I've been working with Willis over at TQL for about 4 months. He takes real good care of me. Somebody will always say that. Always. There's always that one guy that knows more than everybody else.
Then the guy,
Everybody
then
else.
2 days later, that guy's in a restaurant at the TA at the bar. If they even have those restaurants anymore, going,
Oh no.
man, I ain't seen my wife in 4 months, but my brother Billy tells me all about her when he's visiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I haven't been home in forever. But that guy over at TQL sure does take good care of me.
Yeah, Willis over at TQL. I've been holding for him about 5 months. Y'all can say what you want to, but now he's a good hand.
He is.
Everybody that I know, all my friends in the business, the old school guys that I talk to, the guys that I know better. They know better. They know better. And a lot of those guys pull broker freight, and they pull it all the time. All the time. But they know who they're dealing with and they know what to deal with. And when they put a rate out there, that's the rate. That's the rate.
Yep. Well, most of them, without putting it out there, because they already know the carriers to call and they have them lined up to do it, and there's one waiting for the next one. That's the problem.
What I don't understand is all these people on social media, you know, these brokers suck. And when you say that to me out loud, like if you're dumb enough to say that around me or so that I can hear you or type it onto a computer, I know instantly that you don't know fucking dick about this business. I know that just when that one sentence. That if you blame the broker for your lack of success, stop using them.
Yeah, see how that works for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't call them up. Don't
Yeah.
call. Don't turn on that in the morning. Don't turn it on
Yeah,
or drug
cancel your
stop,
Allbird, bitch.
one,
You know
two,
what I
three,
mean?
all
Like,
that
go,
shit.
go
Yeah,
freaking,
don't do it. Don't do
yeah,
it.
don't do it. Get
Shaggy,
rid of truck stop.
and
What is
don't
it?
Shaggy and I are going to go live Friday on
11 a.m.
a bunch of channels, and we're going to talk about tell them about that, Shaggy.
We
Yeah,
will be
whatever.
we're going on e-carrier check, our buddy right there, that hint right there. They love having us on there and they'll have us on YouTube. And Frank's going to be laying down some more of that government stuff because Jared and them are so excited about the information that they had some requests that people actually want to hear it.
Well, I'm gonna reconsider since you got a hat and I didn't, so I probably won't be there this Friday.
Jared will have a hat for you. Don't worry. That motherfucker overnight that shit. He ain't like me. I still got your shirt sitting in a box.
Yeah, right. Probably got cats sleeping in my shirt box,
That's
bitch.
what I'm talking. Give me mom and pops every day because the mom and pops out there. And if you guys don't believe me, do a survey on how many people a year ago seen tons of mom and pop brokers out there. And we're not talking about mom and pop double brokers. They're on a load board and buy big box brokers, but there ain't no mom and pops on that load board right now because they don't have to. And they don't even have to, mom and pops don't even have to really build a relationship right now. Hell, I had a conversation with Marie that me and Frank helped and stuff when we got started. Hell, she's laughing because she's a year in and she can name her rate even as a mom and pop because people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They don't get it. Dan Brandt says, I remember the longshoreman lockout of 2002 at California ports. That was crazy too. Well, in 1979, Dan, I went to California and I was sitting down at the truck wash in downtown LA next to the farmers market down there. Happiness is a clean truck. Remember those little stickers? You're too young, but
I know. I was
happy.
only
I
born
was
like
sitting down
2
there.
years before that.
I was
Just
sitting down there, and all the union guys came into the truck stop that night with their baseball bats, and they went around. And if your truck was running or if you started up, they bust your window out. So I got out and stood in front of my truck. I went inside because that was way before cell phones. I called my dad down in Florida, told him what was going on. And he said, well, two things. He goes, one, he goes, don't start a fight. He said, those boys know what they're doing. Let them do it. He said, number two, he said, anybody takes a swing at your truck and you don't take a swing at them, don't bring the truck back. So that was a crazy night, too. They went around busting windows. And if you were driving down the road, they'd throw a brick at your ass off an overpass.
see, I don't
And that
remember
was the
any of that.
union. That was the unions that started and backed all that. We don't have very many unions now. The unions have all been gutted. And you'll see people get on social media and they'll go, yeah, them unions, all they want to do is fuck you. Well, I've got 3 or 4 friends that get union pensions now on top of their Social Security, and they're sitting around raking down about 7 to 8 grand a month sitting at home. And all their shit's paid
You know,
for.
I was just
And they've
thinking, did you
still
say
got
1979?
insurance. Huh?
Did you say 1979?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was born in 76. So that's what, 47?
I
Damn.
might have seen you. I might have seen you.
Yeah. Could have. That's terrible.
I know it's bad.
You're older than dirt. You know what I mean?
Hey, the alternative kind of sucks, man.
I know. It's like, man, 3 more years, I'll be 50. And Frank's over here talking about, I was driving a truck in 1979. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck, damn, I told you you're older than fucking dirt and Kev.
yeah.
Had a minute. Everybody
Oh,
jokes.
but
Oh, yeah. I'm showing you guys' age, man. What the heck?
I don't give a shit. I'm lucky. I'm glad to be this old. I'll take
No
it.
shit. Man, you go back to Bob. Well, how old was Bob?
He was a little bit older than me.
That's why I thought he was pretty close, man. I'm still blown away. It's bad when we lose a good person in the industry like that. I mean, what the hell?
Michelle said, I remember. Michelle.
What was the topic that besides Member and Bob Best and talking about people like that in the past, all the good ones we've had out there over the years?
Before I found out about Bob, what I wanted to talk about this week, one of the things I wanted to talk about was what are you going to do when all that money comes rolling?
Michelle. Everybody's kidding. Oh, I mean, all you young people, my bad. You guys are so young. Woo! Man, hey, at least Frank can still grow hair at his age.
Hell yeah. Hey, I get up every morning and do inventory. I mean, I do. I wake up in the morning, roll around, see if my shit's still working. I'm good. I'm good.
After I fought in this tournament when I wasn't supposed to this weekend with that fourth degree, and I got a bruise on my ribs the size of King Kong's head. Wait a minute. I wasn't supposed to say that. I was not fighting this weekend after I had my surgery. I was there watching. My bad.
I saw your live today. That's the best live I've seen you do in about a year. That was really good.
I know that Facebook didn't like it because as soon as I got done with it, as they said, you're blocked. Then I had to put my driver's license in to get my account back.
Dan said that was a year before I graduated high school, Frank. And he also said once I made it past 50, I knew it was on bonus years. I got a good friend I ride motorcycles with. He is a retired orthopedic surgeon. And that's what he says. He said, if you make it past 50, just smile and enjoy it because you are definitely on borrowed time.
So you like my video this morning?
It was good. That was really good. You made some really good points, and you didn't do your usual stuff because Bob and I used to laugh all the time. And you would do a video, and then Bob would call me or I'd call him, and we go, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. What are you going to do? You better have a you If you don't have a plan, you got to diversify. You got a plan to diversify, and then diversify your plan. And if you don't, you're going to fucking die, and your whole family will starve to death. What are you going to do then?
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
I love that crap. Bobby's
If you don't have a plan, you don't diversify. What are you going to do then? Your whole family's going to starve to death. Your kids will be sleeping in a dumpster. What are you going to do about that, huh? You got a plan. You got to diversify. Let me tell you something, squirrel. Squirrel.
Remember we used to do those shows every Wednesday? The Bob would be on there, you'd be over there talking. I'd be like, so Frank's over there going.
and he'd go, ain't that right, Frank? And I go, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Whatever he said, that's right. That's right. And then he'd start up you'd say a paragraph, but you'd change the subject like 3 times. And you go, what do you think about that, Frank? And I go, which fucking part? What are we talking about? Who are you? Why are you on this?
But we used to have so many in that group. There used to be so many people with so many questions back then. We'd be just going right. We start out with the topic. Next thing we're over here.
Yeah.
We haven't even done those anymore. Imagine we used to talk about doing sales, calling customers, why carriers not get customers, knowing the difference of why you should have a broker, why one truck companies fail because of like a time bond. Those are good old days.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed doing all those shows. Talking about how to get a customer, talking about how to do your rates. That's another thing.
We need to do it.
Richie and I were talking about yesterday, and he was on one of the other pages, and we were talking about rates. I said I could post rates. I could that's price fixing. I said, I don't give a fuck. I'll put them up there anyway and just say, hey, I don't care if you do this or not, but here's what I think the rate from Nashville to Baltimore for a dry van ought to be. And you might say, well, how much is that? Well, I'll tell you. Thanks for asking. $4.30 a mile plus your fuel surcharge. If somebody called me on the phone and said, Frank, what's the rate on a dry van from Nashville to Baltimore? I'd go $4.30 plus fuel surcharge. And if you go 1 inch north of there, you start adding toll fees.
Yeah. Yeah, remember we used to talk about that? What's it like doing this? Well, if you go past 77 over to freaking this highway right here and you cross 81, you got to start doing this. Or if you go 64 north and once you get close to Fredericksburg, you better start covering this, especially if it's not your market. You know what I mean?
We would do these shows. Shaggy's not in his office tonight. We would do these shows. And Shaggy went years ago. He went to all the trouble. He'd get a map of the United States and he'd draw a big black marker, and he'd put in there fair game. And then he put seasonal. Then he
put remember it said home.
And when he got people in his class, when people would come in there for him to teach them, he'd take them that map and he'd go, here's what you want to do. It's real simple. It's a fucking map. How many of those things did you mail out over the years to people?
Oh, hundreds. Because when we traveled to 14 cities, there was 25 each one. So there's hundreds. Yeah. And then all the free ones we gave away in the class that we filled out and students coming to my office. I bet there's 500 out there probably.
And then you'll see some guy, he takes Shaggy's class, he gets the map, okay, puts it up in his office, sends Shaggy a picture. I learned so much from Shaggy this week. Here's his map right here. I'm ready to go. And then 3 days later, he posts on Facebook, he goes, I'm down here in Miami. These motherfuckers want me to haul freight out here for 76 cents a mile. Brokers suck.
And you're like, you're doing a class, you're like, okay, so you got authority, you have a map. You're like, where are you going to run? Are you going to do a local, dedicated, or regional? Because Frank tells you there's 4 types of freight out there, and the last one's the suckiest one, the freight chasing spot market, which is the most expensive and the most risky, depending on what hat you're wearing. So what is your plan? And do you have 100 brokers in a 30 and 150 mile radius that use you for your start? And how many did you fucking call before you went active? If the dispatcher could do it, you could do it.
Then you get on Facebook and go, I'm down here in Miami, and these some bitches wanting to pay me 76. I go, where's that on your map? You know that huge fucking map you got on the wall? What does it say? What does it say down around Miami?
Game.
Your whole family's going to starve to death. They're going to be eating out of dumpsters. They're going to be standing on the street corner begging for food. They ain't going to have no shoes to wear to school because your dumbass went to Miami.
If you freight chase out of your home area to go to somewhere that's not in your 7-day plan, you must do what Frank said and double the price to cover your 7-day plan to go in and come out. They're not benefiting anybody because it paid great one way.
You've got to get enough money if you're going to go to Miami or New York or Denver. Okay,
no, Frank.
You've got to get enough money to either, when you go out there, you've got to get enough money to one, either get back home, or two, get to some good freight, because there's no good freight there.
No, Frank, that's not how we do it nowadays. You're lying. Stop lying. All you do is get a load to Dallas and go to Denver to Northeast.
When you tell the broker that wants you to go to Miami, when you tell him, yeah, sure, I'll be glad to do that. My rate's $5.65 a mile. And they go, well, I tell you what, I get that done all day for $3.20 all day long. Say, well, call one of those dumb fuckers up because I ain't going.
It's like,
do that. It'll make you feel good. Really, it will. It'll help everything. It'll help your sex life. It'll help your bathroom habits. Everything will get clear and good to you when you tell a broker, I ain't fucking doing that. And hang up the phone.
And then when they call you back, you're like, shit, I got that rate for you, but I can't do 5. Can you do $4.50 a mile on that? You're like, no, now it's 6, stupid. Should have took me then.
I had an account, and I talked about them all the time, and they're here in Nashville. And the girl that ran it, her boss must have been up her old ass all the time about trying to cut rates. And she called me, and I've been in there hauling freight for 14 years. She said, well, I got TQL in here now and a couple more. You're going to have to drop your rates. I said, no. I said, go ahead and give your freight to them and don't call me. I said, but if you cut me off when I come back, I'm going to want a 10% increase across the board. Well, I got them now. And those some bitches started not picking her loads up, not delivering on time, lying to her left and right. The truck's 15 minutes from here. 2 days later, he's still not there. And she starts calling me. I go, well, your rate increase is in effect. Oh, you don't really mean that. Yes, I do. Now let TQL haul your fucking freight. Because now we know who's who.
But the problem is you could get a load board without an MC number, right? It's the same brokers you're going to have when you wagon. Who said that you can't take a piece of paper and do a 7-day plan and figure out your routing and call a bunch of brokers like you have loads, like you have a truck, and practice jacking your rates just to see what it's like and what happens? If you don't practice it,
there's nothing to keep you from doing that if that's what you want to do. Not a thing in the world.
Well, then what's the other part? I heard 4 times in the last couple months, Shaggy, why would I post my truck 30 to 60 days out to let people? Here's the thing I get. Frank, if a broker or a customer, right, one of your customers or a broker, the real ones, right, the guys that are like looking for brokers and carriers like 30 to 60 days out because nobody works today and tomorrow, right? Oh, wait, everybody does, but the real ones don't, right? So the question is, if a broker or customer, Frank has an account, he needs trucks to move it. He either has to find a broker to find those trucks, or he has to find carriers in specific areas to haul it. So if I don't let people know what I'm doing 30 to 60 days out, how the fuck can people find you today and tomorrow? Can you answer that
Yeah,
question?
they can't. They
Like
can't. Hey,
literally.
Bella says, "Sup, Shaggy? It's Trisha. Hi, Trisha. It's Frank.
I know that's kind of well, yeah. Frank's just
Maybe
here.
I'll
Frank,
just
no.
block it. Trisha, you need to send me a hat, or I'm gonna block your ass." Talk about, hi, Shaggy. It's Trisha. You,
Well, so somebody up here said, "Hey, Frank and not Shaggy, what's up, what's
that
up with
was
this
that
shit?"
was that was my sister, man. She gets on here and watches.
Oh, okay, I got it. Uh
Ha ha, smart ass. Yeah, I'd be about smart ass with you. Anyway,
But
so
what do you feel
Shaggy
about that?
Shaggy puts this big ass map up on his wall, right? I'm gonna get back on that. And it's right behind his head. If he was in his office right now, that's all you can see behind him is this map. And every single show, I go, aren't they paying attention to the map? Why did you go to all that trouble to get all these maps and make all these notes and the drawings on the maps, and then spend a whole day teaching them where to go and where not to go?
But
Why
they
did
don't
you
use
do
it.
that? And they don't use it.
No,
They
we
don't
just
pay
go
any
right back to
attention.
the map on the load board, and some dude
They don't
says,
pay any
"Chase
attention.
the
And I
spotlight."
tell people, all the time, the biggest mistake you're going to make is you're going to get nervous and you're going to get desperate and you're going to make a bad decision. And it happens all day, every day. Somebody's going to offer you a fat rate to move your truck out of some place you're having trouble, and you're going to find out in about a month. Kyle Williams, what up, guys? You're going to find out about 30 days when you don't get your money that you've just been screwed.
Yeah, or whenever he's sitting over in the East Coast with
Because
no parking for
yeah,
30
you didn't check his credit. You didn't do your due diligence. You say, yeah, I was down there in Miami the other day. I got $4.38 coming out.
You know, that's the same
I
thing.
bought his truck the other day. That guy. I bought his truck for
I bet
nothing.
you did. I seen
Yeah.
it poured in. You had two of them because they're filing out like crazy. I hate that shit. I'll park that stuff like crazy. Hey, you know another thing too. I heard the other day from a person that's been in my head since I heard it when I came back on vacation. Why would you call brokers ahead of time when you don't really have trucks? You should always wait till the last minute.
Well, I don't want people calling me. So when you say that, I don't ever respond to that because I don't want to waste time with people calling playing games with my girls. I don't have time for that.
Right?
But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Because
still, why don't, how you gonna network
fucking
it?
around, we'll hang up on you. Hey,
I didn't say fucking around. I
Kyle,
said
don't be
finding
talking.
loads.
Kyle, don't be talking to Trisha. Don't be talking to her. She's going to hear, hi, Shaggy.
So no one's supposed to network.
Yeah, you can network all you want to.
Just don't call your girls and ask them about loads they have coming up ahead of time.
No, you can call and ask my girls, but well, all their loads
I'm
are
not
covered.
changing the subject here. I wasn't talking about calling and just jacking the rates are fine. I'm talking calling and finding people that need carriers ahead
Oh
of
yeah,
time
yeah,
before
you
do
can do
it.
that. Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah,
You should do that.
I get the part
And
about
what you
practice
should
and
also
jacking the
do,
rate.
I post 7 days out. Most of the time, people don't call until the day of, but that's not a relationship, is it?
So there's a
How many carriers you post in 7 days out? How many carriers do you send that load list to the day you get them, so that your good carriers can pre-plan on those loads? How many guys do you do that with? Any?
So, you know, it's funny. It's not so much you're posted 7 days out. So, like, you could go and post 7 days out, right? But what are you posting? Are you posting locally? Are you posted city to city? Are you posted directions? Are you posted out and back? Are you posted anywhere? Or are you the guy posted that says, posted 7 days out going, and then they call you up, but I don't go there. No, I don't. I go to Kentucky, but I only go to this town in Georgetown.
Man,
I don't
you
go
ain't
anywhere.
you ain't gonna believe just who just came in here and said hello. You ain't gonna believe
Ooh,
it.
ooh,
Edwin, where the fuck you been, Smith?
what? I seen his buddy too, Wes, the other day too.
Oh,
What's up?
did you?
What's
Edwin,
going on, Mr. Edwin? It's funny because I talked to Wes Litzy the other day too. That's crazy.
those guys are like bad pennies. They just turn up all over the place.
Yep. I get it. No one's gonna argue with me about the posting and stuff because when you work the system every week, we find people that do it and they're blown away with what happens. Especially when you start getting the emails and you work the emails.
We get our loads on Thursdays for next week. Okay, from our biggest customer, the dedicated stuff that we do. We get them on Thursday, usually around noon or 1 o'clock. We get all the loads for next week. In about an hour, they're gone.
Yep.
Guys,
Yeah,
we've
who
been on
said
here.
that? 1 out of 10 loads we post. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't post any. I don't use. I can't even. I don't even know what my password is for DAT. And I used to get on there pretty often just to see what was going on out there. And the last couple of times I did, it just made me so fucking mad. I just turned it off. I couldn't even. I couldn't even listen to it. I hate
You
it.
know, and if they really wanted to do the work, they'd get this guy that hasn't sent you a hat yet, but he loves having you on the show on Fridays at 11 o'clock because we get him lots and lots and lots of views.
Yeah.
And you would go there and really do the work with e-carrier check. But since you guys don't want to do the work and you always go back to the load boards, don't go use the e-carrier check because you actually have to be willing to make the phone calls.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to do some more. Listen, we don't. We've been on here for an hour. I think what we would like to do. I'm here. If Shaggy wants to do it, we can do this on Tuesday nights. I want us to go back to having our show, just like when
I'm
Bob
good.
Best was in the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to be on last week, but Shane was on, so I didn't want to interrupt the two of you, you know?
Well, we were talking about getting and retaining drivers, which he is a fucking wizard at that. I mean, he knows how to do that, and so, got.
Yeah,
And
he
then
does. He's
by
good
the
at
time
it.
you, by the
I
time
still
you got
think he
on,
stole it for Prime, but it's all right. I still love Shane, just so you know.
Solomon wants to know: are you guys doing carrier onboarding?
We are.
Shaggy is.
Frank's not. His loads are all covered.
I'm covered.
And right now, what we're doing, honestly, is the brokerage is on hold. We moved 5 loads with the brokerage, but the problem is a lot of the customers are moving, and there's a lot of problems. So what we're doing is networking to find problems of other people, and then once we find those problems, but what happened is when we're looking at other people that can't find carriers to properly move their freight with brokers, they'll find it because it's hard to go after a customer. Frank will tell you this. It's hard to go after a customer and beg them to give you freight all the time when there's 40,000 people and 8 million from overseas calling the same customers all day long. So if you can't call a customer and tell him what problems he has moving freight and actually have the trucks in the rate to do it, when you call him, you don't stand out very well. So what we found is by networking ahead, because those people that said they only post out 7 days, I can tell you Dawn Baker that follows us in here, Frank knows her and everything. She did exactly what I said. And matter of fact, the other day in my group, you can go ask those 9 or 10 carriers that are going to be posting reviews that are now going to make $1,600 a day running 330 miles that don't give a fuck that are going back to get another one. And the other 3 gigs we're getting ready to post that we got through networking with brokers that we're using through the dispatching site, which I hate dispatching. I didn't really want to do dispatching. I actually stopped it in January. Tell Frank. Frank laughed at me. You got all those people going to do it? Ha ha, you want me? And we did. He was right. We went from a bunch to nothing because everybody wanted to just fall in their lap. So now we're getting all these loads from brokers. And you know what's funny? Brokers anymore, because of the confusion of double brokering and stupid dispatching and everything else going on, when they find a real carrier that's willing to find trucks and do stuff for them, they'll literally sign a contract with you to do the work for them because there's enough money involved that you guys aren't asking for to go around. Isn't that weird, Frank?
Yeah, it's weird. Somebody put in there 95% of carriers don't like to build positive relationships. You know what? There's a group, and I've been saying this for years. Bad information is worse than no information.
Yep.
And on Facebook, a lot of what you get is blaming other people and stupid fucking people. There's a guy on Facebook, and he's got 70,000 people in his group, and he sits there all day, every day. Right now is the time to fuck these brokers. Right now is the time to get them. Don't make friends with brokers, because if you do, they all fuck you. That's all he does all day, every day. He's got one truck. He's never had more than one truck. Never. But he's giving advice to people. He's the guy telling people how to operate their trucks. And 70,000 people listen to him. Yeah. So I'm not surprised, when somebody's 95% of trucks do not like to build positive relationships. I like to build positive relationships. My girls like to build positive relationships. And we've been doing it for years and years and years. And call me silly, call me old school. It fucking works. All my loads are covered by 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon for next week.
I know lots of people like that. We
We counted
counted.
outside broker calls. Last week, sales got 48 calls from outside brokers. It's crazy. That's not counting emails.
Bing. And you think about those emails, right? If you got a broker that's a relationship broker, like a friend, that's one thing. But those other guys that just care, they're sending you all these loads that are coming from places that aren't getting covered that you could possibly handle or not if you knew how to actually get the trucks, or you had more than one truck, or you had a trucking company with a brokerage, just possible. Because if you go to Thomas, Stat, McCray, Blue Book, Manta, and all those other places, they don't show you customers having problems with their current people not getting shit done, do they?
Nope.
There's two kinds of brokers. Well, there's three. One, that's one of those guys that displays on the load board. Then there's two, those are the guys that do send out emails and stuff, but you never deal with some retarded account rep all the time and it doesn't mean anything. Then there's the guys that are out there where they want your truck all the time because Frank doesn't want any more trucks. He'd rather use you over and over and over. And the best thing he can do is help you get back to his freight to do it again, because he don't need new people,
I
because
got
you already
carriers.
do.
I got carriers been hauling my freight for me out west for 18 years.
Yep.
I got a guy with 30 trucks. He started with two, him and his cousin. 18 years ago, he's got 30 trucks now. He doesn't haul for anybody but me. He don't want to. I'm his sales guy. Get it? I'm his sales guy. I get the account. I deal with the customer. I do all the billing. I do all the payroll for him. I'm his sales. He doesn't have to hire a sales guy. He doesn't have to do all that shit. He doesn't have to chase his money from a bunch of different customers, all that. I am his sales guy.
He gets
He
drivers,
likes,
he gets trucks and puts them to work.
that's it. He likes the relationship, and I like the relationship.
Is that, were you gonna, since you're on a roll, are you gonna explain why customers do what they do?
What do you mean?
While you're at it, you used to say it all the time. What's a customer good at most of the time? Is a customer good at finding
The
trucks?
customer, the customer. If you work, G3 Trucks is the name of my company. If you work, if you're at a company that makes ping pong balls, okay? If you're working at a company that makes ping pong balls, you're probably really, really, really good at making ping pong balls, because that's what you do. You make ping. They're probably perfectly round, same size, lightweight. You can fit 400 of them in a little tiny. You're real good at that. What you're not good at is the trucking business. You're not in the trucking business. You don't want to be in the trucking business. You want to be in the ping pong ball business. So what are you going to do? Are you going to bring a little old lady in there? Because a lot of people used to do that. They'd put that, like some little old lady used to be a clerk for 18 years, and they put her in there in charge of transportation. Oh, Aunt Elba being there in charge of transportation. You call her, Aunt Elba, you got any loads for me this week? I don't know. I'm working to get my lunch right now. Won't you call me back in a little bit? We haven't come very far from that, believe it or not.
Dan says relationship building should come natural at everyday encounter before it even gets transferred to business dealings, Frank.
Oh, yeah. No shit.
That's what I'm
It was
talking.
supposed to, when are you guys going to start having open mic? Never?
Nope. Isaiah did say we need to come out to California, but if he wouldn't have mentioned California, it'd be all right. But if it was like somewhere in Nashville or something, we could have went to the Funny Bone and said, "Any truckers just get their authority at the crowd?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about new brokers out there? We got some stories to talk about. Yeah, we're gonna get down about some trucking. We could. We really have some fun about it.
People get on there. People get on there. People get on there, and they say, I'll sell you my brokerage authority for 10 grand. I go, fuck, 230 of them went broke yesterday. Why do I want to buy yours? And by the way, if you're selling yours, you must not be very fucking good at it either. Why do I want your troubles? I don't need it. Don't want it. Hey, it's been an hour. We're getting out of here. I got business to do. I got a phone call I got to make. We will come back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, guys, if you guys will. And we will talk about the stuff you want to talk about. We won't be having an open mic because hell no.
Nah, I'm not doing open mic.
Nah, we're not doing that. That's not.
Ace, I do have a map behind my head. I just noticed that, Frank.
You do, but you'd have to rent a boat to get to the homeowner or an airplane. Or you could fly on a Chinese balloon and get a,
I was. I'm still laughing over Eddie Dion putting the fucking Swift truck floating across there. He said, if this too soon, I about spit my coffee out the other
Oh
morning.
God, that was funny.
You know, if anybody's needing help though, and they like what we put out and stuff like that, you know, our compliance company, we just put the packages out, man. We got it launched, and we're doing lots of one-on-ones Wednesday through Sunday. No more webinars, right? Just one-on-one helping, right?
That's
And
on you.
yeah, and we're working on insurance a lot with renewals and stuff. We got a lot going on. Everything's changed in the consulting business. We're more on a step, like the stair steps of helping businesses get to where they need to get, instead of trying to tell them all the dreams are going to happen in 3 weeks. You know, if I spent more time not filming webinars, Frank, the last few years, and more time working on the 40% that actually paid attention, you know how many more successful companies I'd have in my belt?
A bunch.
And it's disappointing because of you. You think about all the money you lose over last year because you got caught up in the rat race of doing webinars and teaching half the people that didn't even be there. And you could have focused on, like when I met you, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing, remember?
Yeah, I remember. I was there.
But anyways, yeah, guys, we'll be back next week at 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
7
We have a-
Central. Right here.
And if you guys have any questions or whatever, you know, just start gearing them up for the week. The best thing for our shows, man, back when me and Frank went live every Wednesday night.
We
was-
love the interaction.
Yeah, you guys need to take a notepad, right? And everything that you have a problem with, interrupting with a customer, or the broker boards, building relationship, the phone calls, hiring owner operators, adding your authority, opening authority, what an owner operator should do, how to do this, whatever the fuck it is. If his old ass hasn't got it down, because he's like, remember, he used to driving in LA when I was 2. Oh, 3, sorry, 3, because you said 79. That's 3. So, I mean, between my new age butt and his and everything we've done, there ain't much we ain't seen. And I guarantee you guys, I promise you on the Bible or whatever you believe in or anything like that, that if we don't know it, me or him can get this phone dialed right here
We will find it.
and we will find it. I guarantee it. From
And here's
whatever.
another thing we will not do, and I know everybody says this, but I'm going to say it and then I'm going to hang up. We won't bullshit you. If we don't know, we won't make up shit. Okay?
If anybody says we do, they're lying because
Yeah,
you guys
full
have
of
been
shit.
following us forever. We're the most truthful, straight up.
We will
fuck
tell you
you.
like it is. And if it makes you feel good, great. And if it doesn't make you feel
We'll
good,
give a fuck.
we can't help it. Can't always make everybody feel good. Anyway, thanks for coming, guys. Take care of each other. The cavalry is not coming over
Hey.
here, guys. It's just us.
Hey, and take care of these guys out here, man, like Bob Best and you guys.
Take care of
Listen
it.
to the wisdom.
Bob is gone. We're going to take it from here. If somebody needs help, guys, stop for a minute and help them. Okay? But anyway, have a great night. Appreciate you guys coming in. And we will see all of you next week
Later,
live
Frank.
in person. See you, man.